two here. He's going for two. If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win. Got him!
One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
That's just a heavy
If the two hit the tip, if the two hit it. Got him!
One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
All right, welcome in. Going for two, presented by Joe Cools today. Down on Richmond, make sure you're getting your takeout. I know I'm craving a Panzerotti. I don't know about what you guys are after right now. That chicken sandwich we had there was money.
Wings. I need wings in my life right now.
Yeah, well, we know you got a little bit of the munchies, I guess is what they call it. Today we got lots of stuff as far as the NFL or the NHL trade deadline goes. We got a special guest on, Daryl Stevenson, former CFL player, Grey Cup winner. He'll be on. And then there was a lot of small things that happened this week, but we're going to talk about all of them anyway. So first off, we're a Canadian-based show. It would be absolutely ludicrous for us not to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs and all the moves that they made. But before we get into that, we need to talk about our super boost on the weekend. So I know everybody on here
Oh my god.
made their bets, and with 11 seconds left in the fucking game, we were all counting our money. We all thought we had this thing in the bag. I even looked over to my wife, who was sitting on the couch, and we were watching something with the kids. So I just had it on like the side TV with no volume. I was like, Leafs just scored an empty netter. 26 seconds left. We just covered. Winnipeg's up 5-0. There is no way we're losing this. And then the Ottawa Senators came into play.
For what reason, right? Like, what's the point?
Like, what a scumbag, right? Like, you're banging at the puck with 11 seconds left and you're down by 2. You're just a piece of dirt. I wish I remembered who scored that goal. What an asshole. That guy burned us. And obviously, if you follow our Instagram page, you saw that we were talking about getting waterboarded by the Ottawa Senators and Coolbet. I feel like they were somehow in cahoots. So this weekend, we are going to take Coolbet down. We got them back a little bit on Sunday with our little quick two-gamer, but we're taking them down this weekend. So, but it's recovery time. Time to get that out of the way. Absolute bullshit. I want to say that I hate the Leafs for it. However, as I was mentioning, they did make some pretty significant moves over the last 48 hours. The biggest of which is Nick Foligno coming to town. So obviously that's a huge move for those guys.
Big leadership skills, playoff caliber. He knows what to do in the playoffs. That's a big move.
You got to assume that guy's playing on one of the top two lines, probably the second line. I don't think he cracks the top line.
Well, they said the main reason they brought him in is that he can play on any line. And he's that guy. He doesn't care what his role is. He's just there to win. Unfortunately, he went to the Leafs, so that's a horrible life choice because you're not going to win. I'm going to keep that bandwagon going. Everybody knows how I feel about them. But yeah, no, he can play anywhere. So that was the big reason why they brought him in is the fact that they can plug and play him. And he's that kind of a guy.
Right. And it's interesting that the Canadian government reduced the quarantine time for trade deadline players to 7 days. You know, I think that's pretty interesting. And in the U.S., I think it's 5 days. But anyway, they also made another move. And this one kind of perplexed me a little bit. So I reached out to a few Leafs fans and asked them why the Leafs think that having goalies is like having a starting pitching staff. Like, do you really need 5 of them? I'm kind of.
What were the answers that you got there?
There's a lot of concern about our boy Freddie Anderson.
Freddie's gone. They're
concerned,
man.
But the GM came out today and said that they still plan on him being in the future for this year and that he's going to be playing. So, I don't know what that means.
He has a few more dress rehearsals, is what he's got to prove himself. And if it's not there by playoff time, not only is he not playing in playoffs, but he's not going to be there next year. That's just that's what it is.
Maybe one of these guys has
right, so you can't take that guy out of net.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if one of these guys has the Russ Tyler knuckle puck, but I mean, there has to be some reason that they're collecting goalies like this. And they did solidify their defense a little bit with Ben Hutton. I'm not going to pretend like I know a lot about that guy. He plays in Anaheim. When was the last time you
There was
watched
that
the
other
Anaheim
move.
game?
The other move, if he plays Riley Nash, that's huge.
Yeah,
I don't know if you saw the analytic tweet that went out after that trade went down, but there is zero offense on the ice for either team, like whether you're Toronto or the team playing against Toronto now when he is on the ice. And that for a fourth line center to go along with a player like Spezza being there, that's amazing. Holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
That's a shutdown player for sure. So it's scary what Toronto did. They're obviously going all in. I'm sure you're about to tell us what Washington did because I know they made a big move here, but I can't exactly remember the names that were involved in it.
Well, we're gonna get to Washington, but I did want to keep on the all Canadian train to get started here, which the Montreal Canadiens, and everybody on here knows how I feel about the Montreal Canadiens and their fans. So we don't need to get too deep into that, but they ended up picking up John Merrill.
Yeah.
And
former Devil.
And Gustafsson. And they really, really went after it on defense. Are those two players going to put those guys, I guess, not even just in the playoff conversation, but like, does that make them the fourth best team in the division?
Well, I guess it makes them the fourth best team, but I think they're grasping at straws at this point. There's nothing that's going to bring them above the other, like the top two in that division. There's nothing that's going to get them to that level. So,
yeah, but they just got to get into the dance at this point, right? That's all they can think of.
Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, they had an upset in the last year's playoffs, and think of the networks like foaming at the mouth for a Toronto Montreal first round playoff series. Like, I can assure you that Sportsnet and CBC and TSN are all chips on deck, pushed in the middle. I think that they want the Canucks to stay off with this 1-9 situation that it's still not rectified. I mean, they were supposed to open their facility yesterday. That got shut down. I honestly don't know if the Canucks are going to play again this year. That is what it is. We'll see. And it seems like from some of the stuff that happened today, that the Flames were really trying to get themselves out of whatever they were doing and trying to collect some picks and some prospects. But next move, something that affects our hometown, is Jeff Carter ends up on the Pittsburgh Penguins. So that makes at least one guy on here pretty happy. And I think it's a great move for them. I mean, obviously a local London guy, we would love for the Cup to be back here because, I mean, not like you could take it to Joe Cool's right now, but I can almost say with certainty that Jeff Carter will be at Joe Cool's with the Stanley Cup if Pittsburgh was to win it and the place is open. Chad, what do you think? Mm-hmm. You know I'm right.
I've seen him there. I've seen him there once or twice.
Yeah.
Actually, I was working there the day that he got his contract extension with the Flyers.
Okay.
Off his rookie contract. And it was actually a really cool thing because I've known him since we were in high school. I'm not going to lie and say that we were friends. Everybody else in my school does. But I knew him. A lot of his good friends were guys I grew up playing hockey with.
Okay.
I know Jeff more actually from after school whenever then. But it was really cool to see because he brought out his friends. It wasn't like a big night out or nothing. They took the whole patio upstairs by themselves. They kept to themselves. Nothing got out of hand. He had his family there, and only close friends. So there's about 20 of them there. And this is on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon. And it was really cool to see a guy that I've seen him for a long time. And he's pretty humble about it. And I'm happy for him. He's won a couple Stanley Cups, which is pretty cool. Right. And actually, he went to school with me and Daryl at the same time. Which is kind of crazy to think. Two professional athletes in the same school at the same time.
Yeah, well, hey, I wouldn't want to be the third guy in that picture, Chad. I gotta tell you. Yeah, I think it's a big move for Pittsburgh, and I mean for a guy like Jeff Carter, he definitely had a no trade clause. He had to be approving of this, but his contract's about to expire in LA. If you were about to go pick a new team in free agency, why not go test the market with the likes of Sidney Crosby, Geno Malkin, Chris Letang, see what another team has to offer, and just kind of go from there. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you see a guy like Jeff Carter on the Leafs next year, but we're jumping ahead, and yeah,
it's pick just for the playoffs. The guy's a natural winner.
Yeah.
He's won Stanley Cups. He's won a World Juniors. He won an AHL championship. I think he's won a World Championship too in Canada. I know he didn't go to the Olympics, but I think he won the Worlds with them. That's the kind of guy that you want in the locker room as you're going down the stretch. Those are the guys that are playoff hockey players.
Right. Exactly. And another guy with local ties for us, Sam Bennett, actually got picked up by the Florida Panthers. So that's a pretty hot team right now. They're kind of signaling that they're going for it. I'm not going to pretend like I've watched a lot of Panthers games. The ones that I have seen, I think that they're incredibly boring to watch. But maybe that's the recipe to help them go through the playoffs.
Joel Quenneville hockey, man. That's just Joel Quenneville hockey.
Are they the new New Jersey Devils?
No.
Yeah,
They just play like
Chicago.
Right? They play like Chicago played, but with like less talent. Like when Joel Quenneville was coaching there. So they don't have like the Patrick Kane type player that's going to be razzle and dazzle up the ice. And they don't have somebody that I would consider to be like the leader that you would see in Jonathan Taves. But they have enough pieces, and Joel Quenneville's a really good coach. They got the shaft in Chicago, I think.
Yeah. I mean, like, who I would consider probably their most skilled player, and only because I got to watch him a bunch, was Patrick Hornquist. And I mean, he's a second line player on a good team. So pretty cool for him. I mean, I'd love to see Florida go for a little run. I like when different teams are doing big things in the playoffs, and that division all on its own seems like it's going to be some teams that haven't really been hanging around recently. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how far that could take the Panthers. And the Panthers actually got Gustafson from, or no, was it? Who was it? From
Gusev. The Goose.
Gusev, yeah. So that's another pretty big pick, I think. And if they can continue to keep rolling, I know you hate every player that leaves your team. They suck.
No.
Team,
I mean, we just talked about an analytic tweet. If you want to talk about an analytic tweet, one of the reasons why he was put on waivers from a team who can't score is because he was actually negative scoring opportunities on the ice. That's why he was released. This is something that I could never thought I would see.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about analytics. I want to talk about fun stuff.
Oh gosh. Well,
yeah.
He doesn't provide offense on the ice, and that's one of the, if a team can't score like the New Jersey Devils cuts you, there's a problem there. Maybe he finds his third string or his third legs or whatever there, because he was already in Vegas, he was in Tampa, Jersey. Now he's going to be there. Let's see what they can do.
Hey, I would be much happier living in Florida than I would be in New Jersey, but that's my opinion, and we will see how that goes. Now, finally, to the Capitals deal that you were talking about earlier. Anthony Mantha got picked up by the Capitals.
What did they give up?
I think like a second round pick or something.
They gave a one.
They gave a
they
one?
did give
okay.
a one.
They gave up
was it just that?
No, they gave a one in players.
Okay, so I mean, that was obviously a huge pull for them. Wow. I know that the Capitals made a couple other moves, but that was one of those guys that I was surprised that Detroit would move on from somebody like him. He must have an expiring contract, and I don't actually know that, but why?
26.
Yeah, unless like he asked to be moved, why would you move on from a guy like that? Seems like you could still have him under control, and even if your rebuilding plan is 2 years, like you would still have an incredibly talented player at 28, and I don't know. But the Red Wings really haven't done anything in like this part of the decade, and well, actually, sorry, in the last decade, it seems like they're getting into this decade on the same shitty start. And
yeah, I think it was the last time that they were actually good was Zetterberg and Datsuk was still there, right? They had that 1 year with Damian Brunner, and then they kind of hit the cliff and fell right off it. Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was fast, man. Wow.
Yeah.
So they gave up Jacob Vrana, Richard Panik, a first round and a second round.
Yeah, I knew that there was a second round in there, but
so can we find out the contract details? He's got to be there for another year or something. That can't be.
I don't follow the Adam Schefter of hockey. That's unfortunate for you. I can only do what ESPN tells me.
The Adam Schefter of hockey is probably Elliot Friedman. That's my guess.
Mm-hmm.
And here is the move, and I saved this to the end just because I wanted to have Kalen enough time to talk about it. The Boston Bruins, who I absolutely hate Boston, acquired
God.
Taylor Hall. So,
Oh yeah.
Kalen, tell us all the reasons why Taylor Hall is going to be the MVP of the league.
Did you hear his whole the same story that he plays every time he goes to a new team?
No.
Oh, I always wanted to be here. This is where I wanted to be. But there is
You
video,
have
I
to
guess,
say
going
that.
back.
Yeah.
Well, Bobby Orr is his agent, so I guess like there is some video going back to that he got toured around and stuff coming into the league in the offseason. He claims he almost signed with them before signing with Buffalo. He's hyped to get to Boston. He's driving there overnight by himself so he can play against his own Sabres tomorrow. So that's interesting.
Are you allowed to do that? I thought you had to quarantine.
No, well, it's in the U.S. I don't think that they have any in-state quarantine. I guess he's allowed to play.
I thought that there was an NHL rule, but maybe it's only for teams coming into the U.S. or going into Canada. I might have read it wrong, but
quite the fall from grace, though. A second-round pick. Jesus, I think that's what they ended up getting out of it. They got like a player or two. I think they ended up getting out of it too, but it wasn't like a high-end player. But I don't know. Taylor Hall is a mess, man. Then he's not. The Boston isn't a team that scores goals either.
Yeah, but that's a good return for Buffalo. I mean, they have to make move with it, but we were talking last week and thinking that they were going to get like a bag of hockey pucks for him, and a second round pick is somebody that could be a part of your franchise for the next 8 to 10 years.
Yeah. If anything, what they did what they nailed though, if you want to know, they got that guy away from Jack Eichel. That's what they really did. They do not need a player like that around that kid anymore. It was just holding him back. He completely fell off this year. They were scratching him this season. Like I never thought I was going to see that.
I mean, Eichel was one of the guys that was looking to be potentially moved, but I think it's a good move for Hall's career, and this is his opportunity to play against less inferior talent because he's going to be on either the second or the third line in Boston. So he's not going to be always up against the top defensive line, and I think it's going to give him an opportunity to get his career back. I mean, when he was in Arizona, he was one of the top threats, right? So you would always pair him up with the best people. Same thing in Buffalo. And I mean, Buffalo's a friggin' dump. Like they're a disaster. With all the pieces that they had this year, I'm shocked that they weren't a little bit better. I'm not sure they have 10 wins yet, but I think it's a good move for Taylor Hall. I think it's a pretty good move for Boston. Maybe risky giving up a second round pick, but if you can get a guy, I don't know, let's say he scores 10 goals for the rest of the season, he contributes in the playoffs. I think you're giving up that return all day.
Yeah,
he's only got 2 so far this year. So
yeah, if he gets him into a deep playoff run, contributor, then it's worth every single thing about that play.
Yeah,
and his return is so much higher than like if he does nothing with it. A second round pick in hockey is like a second round pick in football. Like those guys don't pan out all the time.
Right.
So to me, it's like if the risk and reward is worth it. If you're trying to make a deep playoff run, he's still a high caliber player. He's not playing the way he plays hockey right now. Obviously, something's going on with him. And if you can get him to come back on that return, you're laughing. And if you don't, you cut him.
Yeah, I mean, anything that I've seen from him, it just looks like his like hand-eye coordination isn't there. So maybe he just needs to get with a coach that's gonna fix some of that stuff, and we'll see how that goes. But why don't we cap off the NHL there, and let's go do our interview with Daryl, and then we'll come back in after. Are you clear, Liam? All right, guys, and as promised, we have London football superstar Daryl Stevenson with us today. He also played CFL. This guy is going to walk us through some of his combine experiences. So, Daryl, we appreciate you coming on.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and for anybody that doesn't know the connection, Chad was the quarterback at Clark Road when Daryl was crushing every record in London history.
It's because they were scared of our deep pass attack.
Yeah,
they couldn't stack the box. That's what it was.
No, they allowed people to have 13 players on the field, and this guy still ran through them all. But
so yeah, use your handoff partner. Is that what Chad was good for, or what?
Yeah, he could throw it though. He could throw it.
Yeah, like you mean like in a sweep, right? Like not like actually, like that's considered a throw, kind of.
I was like sunshine. I couldn't pitch at 5 yards, but I could throw it 50 miles.
I can't picture you with that kind of a flow, though, Chad.
No, I had the spikes. More like that B4
oh,
look.
jeez.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
Hair
puka
gel
shell
in the
necklace and
helmet.
all.
Oh,
Yeah,
He,
what a
he had the
beauty.
whole getup, man. He had the towel and everything, and he looked the part. The gloves, yeah.
Yeah, so he has to. I mean, if not, I mean, he's going to be like on the picture of every London Free Press, so he might as well look the part if he's going to be giving you the ball every time. But like, I know that you're a Lions fan, so like, we're sorry to hear that. But
Yeah. It's been a tough.
they're obviously
go.
yeah, they're obviously rebuilding. First and foremost, I guess, like, what do you think of the coach? Like, was it time to move on?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think when they hired Matt Patricia, I heard early reports of him, the way his attitude was on the team, and I knew instantly, like, it's not going to work. If you have a coach like that who's going to be like that to the players, and he's going to lose their respect, and it's going to go pretty bad for the team. I think they kind of went in the right direction, the opposite direction. They got a coach that was more of a player's coach. He's played before, and I know just from personal experience in the CFL, that does go a long way. Unless you're some sort of mastermind like the Belichick is, players will start questioning you if you start pushing them too hard like that, and you don't have the background. They're going to start saying, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's never played. He's never done this. So I think, their whole coaching staff in general, a lot of them are old players, and I think that's going to go a long way. It'll be an interesting year this year, bit of a rebuild, but we'll see. But I do think it's a good choice for now.
Yeah, he's one hell of a hype man. I saw a video recently of him going into the Ford motor plant, and he was talking to a bunch of the employees there and just trying to tell them, like, we're going to create a winning team here, because when we have a winning team in Detroit, it's fun to work and live in Detroit when that happens. Just the way, like, his prep talk or press talks that he had after he got hired, when he was cussing there, and he's cussing in this prep talk at the Ford motor plant. It's very Detroit-esque. I think he's really going to fit in, right?
Yeah, I think he really does fit in. He's that type of guy, and that's what Detroit needs right now. He was a former player, I think, for the Lions too, and I think with what he's coached, and he's coached a lot of tight ends, and I think they're going to really exploit some of those areas of the field.
Right, and I mean, as a longtime Detroit fan, like, was it kind of bittersweet to see Matt Stafford on his way out?
Yeah, definitely. Matt, he's been a true warrior for the Lions for a long time. He's been injured a lot, but he's only missed like 8 games or something like that in the past 10 seasons or so. I mean, he's been a warrior for them, and every time I watch him play, I always think, oh, that was nice. That was nice. He makes a lot of good plays. I went to a lot of Lions games. I went to the University of Windsor, so I'd go over and watch a lot of Lions games. And I was always impressed with him in person. He seemed to do a lot with not a lot of help around him. And, he had Calvin, but there was a lot of times that I definitely was impressed with him. And it's sad to see him go, and I hope he does well with the Rams.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of where the bittersweet comes in. Like, you want the best for a good guy like that gave you like what he could, but it was time to move on for the Lions' sake, I guess. And we'll see what Goff has for them. But like, where do you see them kind of improving themselves in the draft?
Well, with the draft, I mean, I hope they get. I don't know. Like, we were always praying for another quarterback to come in and for them to really develop somebody. But Goff's pretty young. I think he's like 26. But they definitely need help on defense. I mean, last year, Dooku, he's a really good player, the cornerback. But they need more linebackers that can cover people, definitely. So I hope
Brockers is a big pickup for you there.
What's that? Sorry?
Brockers, that's going to be very big for your defense. I think it's going to really transform that defensive line.
Yeah. So yeah, and they definitely need help all around. I see they're signing a lot of like 1-year contract type players. It's going to be an interesting year. I don't know, how well they're going to do, but it'll be definitely interesting and fun to watch and see what Goff does. I think Goff is a really good player. Watching him over the years, I think last year they had a lot of O-line problems, and he was in a hurry a lot of the time. So I think Detroit Lions offensive line isn't too bad. I think that it'll be interesting to see what he can do with them.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, like, if let's say like they're picking 7, right? So if there's not a quarterback that they'd be interested in, would you like to see them move back and kind of collect some picks and see what they can make, like, or should they just go for it if the quarterback's there?
I think if the quarterback is there, yeah, maybe take it. I've heard talks of them maybe going with the Pitts from Florida to get another tight end receiver in there. But it would, in the long run, I think investing in some defensive players, specifically linebackers, maybe some safeties would go a long way, and getting more picks would help.
I think the kid from Penn State's your best option if he's still there. Parsons.
Oh yeah.
Because like they're saying 5 quarterbacks can go right away, and then the tackle from Oregon, so that guy could fall right in your lap, and that guy can play anywhere on the field.
Yeah.
He can put his hand down. He can play a linebacker. He can bump out and play the nickel too. The guy ran a 4.3. So
right.
Yeah.
Some
I
that
think
could
that's
be
going to be
versatile.
such an interesting pivotal position. We got the tight ends have changed so much in the last bunch of years and become so athletic, almost like receivers. And I think we're going to see, more and more linebackers as the years go on that start to match those body types and those athletes out there. And it'll be fun to watch, but they definitely need some guys that can shut them down.
Well, for sure, yeah. And I mean, if they were to end up with Pitts, then they would have Hawkinson and Pitts, and that would be a nightmare for linebackers to try and cover.
Yeah.
That'd be like the Patriots of old, but just someone like that.
Well, Patriots of new all over again.
Yeah. And like the other thing that we were kind of talking about before, like, believe it or not, you're the only person that was actually drafted by a real team on this show right now. I mean, Chad was picked in dodgeball, and like, maybe we were picked for like a little racquetball kind of thing. Kalen was always picked last, so don't hold that against him. But tell us like what the draft experience was like. I mean, you went through the CFL Combine.
Yeah, I mean, the Combine was such a huge thing. For me, I was always the type to really, push it as much as I could physically and work out a lot and train for the Combine a lot. Unfortunately, I got hurt like at the end of my last season, right before the Combine. I had a pretty bad high ankle sprain, so I wasn't really able to run as much. But I still, I put a lot of emphasis and got my bench press up and tested all those things. It's really interesting because it kind of takes away from training specifically for football, and you end up training for these things, testing your reps out all the time, getting your 40 right, testing your vert jump, and doing things that, once the draft is over and once the Combine's over, you don't do that as much, especially once you go pro. And it's kind of a relief. Like, I don't have to do 225 bench press anymore. I don't have to, run a 40 ever again. But it's a really fun experience, and going up against all those other guys and just putting yourself to the test. And it's nerve-wracking for sure. And you only get a couple shots at things. I mean, I slipped on my T test and fell, and that was it for that test. So it's really you work your whole life for that moment, and you really want to shine. But no, it's a great experience to go through.
Did they interview you at the CFL Combine, like with teams?
Yeah, like I think 5 of the teams interviewed me, and it's pretty basically they kind of know who you are as a player. They've watched the film on you, and they see what your testing numbers are like. So they really try to talk to you a lot about your personality and who you are. They ask you things like, have you been in trouble? What are your hobbies? Things like that. They really want to see, do I want this person around on the team? And I thought that was pretty interesting.
For sure. And while you were going through that experience, like going back on it, is there any guy that you kind of like used as your benchmark, like the guy that would push you in the Combine? Because you're like, there's no way you want that guy to beat you. Like you want to be on par with him.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to be top in every category for all the running backs. And I wanted to, for me, I wanted to jump as high as all of the receivers, and I wanted to bench as much as the O-linemen. I just wanted to try to, knock everything and be, the top athlete, because, realistically, you're getting drafted and you're going to have to play against some good players. I was a running back. I'm going to have to compete for a starting position against a lot of American running backs. And so a lot of the times you're competing more for a special teams job, and you want to prove that you're an overall athlete can go out there and, you know, go push people around on special teams. Eventually in the CFL, I became a tight end. And there's a whole game I played where we did double tight end, where we moved to tackle over to the other side. And I was actually kind of playing tackle for half the game, having to block people. In high school and university, I never had to block anybody. So, but luckily I had a coach in university that coached a lot in the CFL, and you know, he taught me a lot. Like, you got to be able to do all these other things that you're not expecting to when you get there. So just show them you're an athlete.
So that being the position change there, how was that approach? Like, how did that come to you? Did you come with that idea? Did the coach come to you with that? And how did you take it in stride? Is it just, I got to keep my job, so I'm going to take whatever they ask me to do?
Yeah. I mean, right away, you know, I wanted to be a running back, but it's pretty obvious when you get there. You're going against some guys that run, like the running back I played with in Hamilton ran back-to-back 4.29s. And it's you know,
oh my God,
we're gonna give that guy the ball.
yeah.
So I'll take whatever position I can get. And
I found out who my ghost runner is going to be for our combine, guys.
Yeah. So, you know, so it definitely, and you see all the other Canadian athletes that are great athletes, and they're fighting for special teams positions too. So, you know, you're definitely happy with just playing. You know, at the end of the day, you're still playing football for a living, and you know, it's definitely, you take what you can get, and it was pretty fun changing positions and learning something new in football, and learning how to play tight end and trying to run routes and trying to block people. I'd be working with offensive linemen on my footsteps and things I never did, and I definitely took it in stride and just had as much fun with it as I could.
Now, was that transition made in Hamilton for to be a tight end, or was it made later on in one of the other places?
It was made actually pretty much right away in Winnipeg.
Okay.
What it really is, I mean, tight ends and the fullback are pretty much the same in the CFL. They're all kind of bigger tweener type running backs, and but on every team that I played on, I was always the backup running back as well. So if the Americans went down, or whoever's playing tailback, you know, I took a lot of reps at running back, and I was always the scout team running back. So I was always ready to play, and I did get in sometimes at tailback as well. But you know, early on, you can see it, the writing on the wall. I'm a bigger guy. I look the same as the other fullbacks. Are all bigger, taller guys, and you know, it's so early on. I was told you're going to play a bunch of different things, but I was happy with that. The more you can do, the longer you stick around.
Right, and because you stuck around for so, like, you had your career, you were actually able to finish it with a Grey Cup championship.
Yeah, so my final year, I went to Saskatchewan in 2013, and that was awesome, playing in the Grey Cup. You know, running
cold,
down.
I bet.
Oh, it was freezing cold. There was we had more.
Don't experience much things colder than that. Saskatchewan Grey Cup. Woo! My God.
The whole playoff run was so cold, and the playoffs, the championship game was in Saskatchewan too, and it was freezing. But we were ready for it. I had like metal gloves under my gloves.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's a good trick. But no, it was super cold. But you know, you're so pumped up at that point in time that you just don't care anymore.
Did you know that was the last game going into it?
I had it in my head that it could be the last game for sure. I was trying to get into some PhD programs, and I knew I kind of wanted to go that route after football. And I had 2 concussions when I played, and I thought, you know, I'm surviving this long. If I win a championship, I think I'll probably call it. And then eventually that's what happened. So, but I always wonder, like, if I didn't win, if I would have been hungry to go back and keep trying.
Well, I mean, it's nice to be able to ride out with a championship into the sun. Like, that's like a dream ending to a career. So
for sure, yeah,
awesome that you took that. And what we were talking about the combine earlier, and you were talking about you weren't really able to run the 40, but I think we mentioned it to you earlier. The 4 of us are actually going to be running a 40 in a couple of weeks, and we want some tips. We need some pro tips, because right now the best that we got was get into a 3-point stance, and I'm not sure that any of us can actually get out of the 3-point stance. So we need something a little better than that.
Yeah. Well, I did end up running the 40 at the combine. It wasn't amazing.
Okay.
But no, for tips for you guys, if you can't get out of the 3-point stance, I'd say make sure you're nice and balanced to start.
Okay.
Already losing.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys are going to practice beforehand, but it definitely helps to count your steps and know when to pull your head up about halfway through, based on your steps. But try to keep your balance. I see a lot of people that come out that haven't run in a long time, and the stumbles is where you're going to hurt. If you fall, I had some buddies in university that did not finish on their 40 times. I would never let them down on that.
Yeah, that feels like it's probably something that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Bandage up that chin before you even get the opportunity to land on it.
It's
right?
because I'm gonna hit that 23 miles an hour and get that speed wobble.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
Like an airplane, like a golf ball, nice and low. Don't pop up right away. That's one good tip. Stay nice
Chad,
and low for 10 steps.
Chad's going to be 20 yards down the field, and it's going to feel like a baseball bat just hit him in the back of the leg because that hammy's not built to run.
Yeah, definitely hydrate.
Yeah.
And get nice and loose. Don't pull a hammy.
Yeah, and one last. This has been a burning question because Chad kind of went after Kalen a little bit on our Super Bowl show. I don't know if you saw it, but mine and Kalen's old high school football coach was on there, and he kind of called out Kalen on the show a little bit. So we want
I
to
called out
know
both
what.
of you first off.
Yeah, but Kazlik didn't. He only had nice things to say about me. So, when it comes to playing, like Chad was your quarterback. When it came to playing with Chad, give us some stories about, like, he's always talking about the glory days, but we know he just handed the ball to you. So tell us some secrets.
He definitely handed the ball off a lot. But you know what? I'll give Chad a lot of credit. We didn't have anyone that we knew that was going to play quarterback in our last year. And Chad, before the end of the summer, said, I'm going to do this. And I remember watching him in camp, and I can still picture to this day standing on the track and watching him on the field. And I was like, man, he could throw. He could throw the ball. And he was throwing and looked the part. He put in the effort. I made him carry me off the field from the field to the locker room every day after. I told him, you're going to have to win our games in the fourth quarter. You're going to need your legs to get a little stronger and get a little bit better in shape. But no, he did awesome. And I don't have too many bad stories about Chad.
Well, nothing that we can share on air anyway.
No.
I wouldn't bring him on
that's
if
just
he did.
so now we know that Chad was just going to the line and checking into a run play all the time, and that's why this guy's saying so many nice things about you, huh?
Yeah.
I can't read that defense. Check to the run.
I had the easiest job in the world, man. They put 10 guys in the box.
We killed it on play action, though. He had some nice ones off that, too.
Yeah, because once again, there's 10 guys in the box. That made my job easy.
Nice. Well, I was kind of hoping for like a worse story about Chad to get some redemption for Kalen, but that's okay. We appreciate you coming on, Daryl, and we're happy to have you on again. Anytime you want to come on and just chat, when we get a little bit closer to when the Lions are going to pick, maybe we can get you on and get a pick nailed down for it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
for sure.
Anytime.
Thanks, Daryl, for coming out.
So we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. Well, that was Daryl Stevenson. We appreciate him coming on. That was
fun.
That was hilarious how he told us that Chad had to carry him back to the dressing room every day in training camp.
That's a true story. He was like, you gotta
earn your keep,
shape.
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So I mean, in the spirit of that, and we talked a little bit about the draft. Let's talk about who you guys think the top running back or running backs are in the draft, because I mean, I was thinking going in, there's probably 3 first-round caliber running backs. Now, I watched Daniel Jeremiah on TV yesterday. He says there's none. Nobody's getting picked in the first round.
That's crazy.
So I guess first question, we'll go around and say, is there going to be a running back in the first round this year?
It's tough. I think if you trade back in, yes.
Okay.
I think that's the only way. The problem is I wouldn't trade back in for a first because the odds of a running back sticking out 5 years is pretty slim. I don't think there's a Saquon Barkley in this draft or a Christian McCaffrey in this draft. But I still think that maybe there's first round talent, but I just don't think there's a first round running back worth taking that pick on. I think that being said, I think two of them could go in the top 10 picks in the second round.
Right. So kind of similar to like last year, right? Like it was what's his face? Edwards-Helaire was he was the second he was the 32nd pick, and then it seemed like every other running back kind of just went right after that, and the Steelers passed on J.K. Dobbins, which was the whole thing. We're not going to get into that. I mean, that's last year's news, but do you guys really think that teams like in the late 20s and 30s would pass on a talent like Travis Etienne? Like,
no.
So the reason I'm asking is like, even when Trevor Lawrence was out, Etienne was still the feature of that. So that could be two ways to look at it. Where does he have too much of a workload, or is he so significant that like maybe he lifted a guy like Trevor Lawrence up to the kind of level that he is?
I think if I'm looking at ATN, I think his best comparison for me is somebody like Alvin Kamara. He's somebody that he led the league led the NCAA in receiving yards for running backs. He almost had 600 yards receiving. As a rushing running back, he's a very good runner. He got better this year than he was last year too. And he came into the offseason saying, I want to be in the passing game more. And he made an example of that. Or made a position of that this year. I think that he is probably my favorite running back in the draft this season. And a close second is actually going to be Javonte Williams out of North Carolina. I don't know if you guys have the opportunity to take a look at him or not, but I really, really like what he does. He's nimble. He has all the moves. I think when Chad said there's no Saquon, I think this is your closest to poor man Saquon you can get in the draft this year. He does everything well. He does He does everything well. He knows how to lower the shoulder, but he can also catch the ball. So I'm going ATN, Williams, and then Harris is the number 3 for me.
I think Harris is number 1.
I just think his workload is crazy. Like, I know that's just what Alabama running backs do, but it's a lot of work that was put on him this year. I don't know.
Your boy's from Alabama and had a way bigger workload.
He's 6 foot. He's also 6'4", 250. Like, he's a different type of person. I don't know.
Harris
I know that Dunge's big guy too. He's 6'2", 230. Or he's a bit. I just think they're different types of bodies. They're different types of builds. That's all. Derrick Henry was
Mark Ingram, same thing, massive build. These guys pan out. I just think Harris is a better receiver than both of them. And I think that's what's going to separate.
Better than ATN. Wow.
Yeah, what he did in the college football playoff, and he put himself. He literally came out and said, "I'm the best running back here."
Yeah.
He embarrassed Notre Dame. He put Notre Dame on his back. He had a phenomenal game in the national championship, and so did Devontae Smith. I think that's what overshadows it.
Right.
I think people don't understand how good of a talent and how good of a player Najee Harris is. And Alabama breeds running backs. You talk about Alvin Kamara. He was the odd man out. He chose to leave to go to Tennessee.
Yeah.
That's how good an Alabama running back room is. So and I think people forget about that. So if you're the stud at Alabama, guess what? You're going to be a stud in the NFL. So I'm going to say that's what I think the best one is. And I think it is ETN.
Trent Richardson wants a word, Chad.
Yeah, there's one. That's one.
Well, and Trent Richardson's big problem is he was drafted by the Cleveland Browns. So if Derrick Henry was drafted by the Cleveland Browns, like, he would also be bagging groceries at Loblaws today.
That's true.
Maybe
100%. I mean, the old Browns sucked. Like, now they seem like they got their shit figured out. But when was the last time the Browns had 2 back-to-back good years? Like, are you really expecting the Browns to be a playoff team this year? I'm getting onto a tangent. Well, maybe we should save something for the summer. But
the guy that I'm looking forward to seeing, though, is that kid from Ohio State, though.
Okay, good. So that's what I was going to bring up. So I love Harris. I love ETN, Williams. But if I was, like, as a Steelers fan, if the Steelers don't feel like taking one of those guys in the first round, they're definitely not like those three guys aren't going to be around when the Steelers pick in the second round. So a guy like Trey Sermon, I would love him. And Mike Tomlin loves drafting Ohio State players. Loves it.
Mm-hmm. Your boy Connor's had his first interview today. I saw. James Conner?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, this guy loves jumping at with Arizona. Yeah, he's probably going to sign with Arizona.
Oh, is he? Oh, okay. I didn't know if he was actually.
Yeah.
I just saw he was going to have an interview. I didn't know he had a surgery in the offseason or something there.
Yeah, to be honest, like James Conner, I really like him. He's one of those guys, like, you know how people always say, like, the NFL shelf life is 3 or 4 years? That's pretty much what he is. I mean, he was a third round pick. I like him. If he came back to Pitt. Go ahead.
Sorry. I said he's the prime example why I wouldn't trade back into the first round.
Right. Well, and James Conner was a third round pick. So, I mean, they got good years out of him. And, I mean, he played there for 4 years. His rookie year, he tore his ACL. So he really only had 3 years of playing time. Could a team pick him up? Absolutely. Is he ever gonna like be a 1,500-yard rusher? No. And
so at your pick, your first round, like, are you? We know that the Steelers struggled this year running the ball. Is that where you think they need to go first, second, or third pick this year? 100%.
Third pick, probably.
Yeah. So when I look at it, like they made some moves for their O-line that they're comfortable with. They brought guys back that they had on the team before that tried other teams, and now they're coming back. The Steelers love to do stuff like that to bring guys back. I think for sure that they'll bring in an offensive lineman. I can't see it happening in the first round. In my opinion, they're either going linebacker, edge rusher, or a running back in the first round. And no matter what, this is the only thing I can tell you with certainty. That person will be from a Power 5 school because Kevin Colbert does not draft first-round picks from non-Power 5 schools. Period.
So
Period. Look it up. Pick it up. Yeah.
That's so interesting.
They love to get them in the later rounds, but in the first round, just does not happen. But go ahead.
Did you see who the Bucks signed today? Just a poor man shady. They've picked up Giovanni Bernard.
Oh, they got Bernard?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just like, oh, well, we tried to a shady, didn't work out. Let's bring up this running back who's done nothing in 3 years.
Jeez. AB still remains unsigned.
You know what's interesting about Giovanni Bernard before we move on is you know that he was the only running back drafted before Le'Veon Bell in that draft?
Wow.
And like, because it's Cincinnati, it's funny because Le'Veon Bell is from Ohio and he had some of his best games against Cincinnati. And these guys just can't figure their shit out. I mean, Joe Mixon's there now, and Joe Mixon clearly is the reason that Giovanni Bernard is now on the Bucks. But does that mean? I mean, how many more offensive weapons are they really going to bring in? Like, do you think that they've given up on AB, Chad?
I think they have to. I think it's either they get him back at the veteran minimum, or he doesn't play football. No one's going to pay him, and that's
too many. Yeah, there's too many question marks with that guy.
Too many question marks. He's going to want the ball. In Tampa, he can't demand the ball. And a lot of these other teams that he was going to go to, he's going to fall into that trap where he wants the ball. There's not a lot of teams that he can go to and not be the best receiver there. So he's going to want to get paid more than that guy, their best guy.
Yeah.
In Tampa, he's not the best guy. He's not the second best guy. And that's why they can keep him in line. And there's a guy named Tom Brady there who says, you shut your mouth or you're out.
If you were the Bucks, would you like? Obviously, they would probably take Antonio Brown if he played at the veteran minimum. But would you want to jeopardize like a guy like Tyler Johnson or Taylor Johnson, whatever his name is, the kid from Minnesota that played last year? Like that guy could turn into a stud receiver, but he needs the opportunity before his contract runs out.
Mm-hmm. And same with Scotty Miller. I like Scotty Miller, and I just don't think there's enough balls right now.
Yeah.
For everybody. So if we can get him for next to nothing, sure, I'm fine with that. But I think he was asking for just under 10 million. And it's not going to happen. You had 45 balls and the last 4 of them were gifts from Tom Brady where he ran a shovel pass just to get your bonus.
Yeah. Well, maybe the Bucks should use their draft capital and go get Deshaun Watson because Seems like he's on the market. So
Yeah, he's going to the longest yard too.
yeah.
He's the new Adam Sandler.
Yeah, so Deshaun Watson to Antonio Brown in the penal league. There we go. Yeah, I mean, we'll see how the draft goes, and like pretty much at this point, the Masters is over, and I can't remember the guy's name that won it, but good for him.
Hideki Matsuyama.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think you said it wrong, Chad, but
Shocking.
I know Dustin Johnson missed the cut, and there was a few other guys that missed the cut, but big news that I saw from this weekend was, did you guys watch any baseball this weekend before I get started?
I was glued to.
I did not watch baseball. Masters. Yeah.
Okay, so pitcher for San Diego, his last name is Musgraves. He threw the first no-hitter in Padres history, and the Padres are not a brand new organization, and we meant to look it up, and then we got on chatting with Daryl. 1969. Okay, so from 1969 till now, that was the first no-hitter in their club's history.
Wow, how many strikeouts did he have?
I have no idea.
No, that's awesome. That's crazy though.
I think it was 9 or 10.
Yeah,
wow. That's awesome.
I still think it's nuts. In 50 years, at 160 games a year, no one's done this yet.
Yeah,
no, the Padres are historically a bad. The Padres are historically a bad team, right? It's only been recently they've been kind of good.
You have an infield that's $400 million.
Yeah, yeah, and even like you can't even say recently they've been good. Like last year they made the playoffs in an abbreviated season. Before that, I can't even tell you the last time they made the playoffs. Like Liam will look it up for us, but I bet you. So the last time the San Diego Padres made the playoffs, that wasn't last year. I'm gonna say the late 80s. That's my guess. I got like 1989 is my guess, but
Tony Gwynn's the only thing I know about the San Diego Padres.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So picture Tony Gwynn in one of those stupid yellow and brown hats. So, all right. Well, we just got cucked. So there we go.
There's a reason.
But it was probably a super outlier year. It was like 2006, and then it was like 1991.
Yeah, that's okay.
Don't give him this chance, Kelly. He's gonna prove us all wrong. He's got Google. Jesus.
All right. Well, we'll just go fuck off over here then. Did you guys see Gardner Minshew's post of his new mullet with his unbuttoned denim shirt and that meaty
man.
He is a free agent right now, right?
No, not officially. Man. No, he's part of the Jags.
Oh, is he? Okay.
He's be Trevor Lawrence's backup.
The guy is not, can you imagine him being Trevor's the hype man? Holy shit.
Yo, Trevor Lawrence will not leave his girlfriend around Gardner Minshew.
No,
Mr. Steal Your Girl.
Right there. Yeah. That guy looks like he is ready for every country video ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I was going to compare him to Morgan Wallen, but I didn't want to put his name in that as like if that gets hashtag, like I don't want him to
get canceled. Yeah.
I mean get canceled by association. So
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, did you see it, chat? Or Liam, you're looking at that? Hilarious.
He sees a leopard beside him, right?
Lawrence didn't invite me to his wedding.
He didn't invite you to his wedding?
No. So I did not invited to his draft party, not invited to his wedding. I've been
COVID, man. Small invitation list. You would have gotten in a normal year, I think.
No, it's South Carolina, man. They don't have COVID there.
Yeah, there's no COVID in South Carolina.
There's no COVID in the South, bro. That's not a thing.
Like I think Aiden has to have a talk with him.
Yeah, you know what? We need to get Aiden on again soon. Like I'm sure that guy's busy with school and stuff, but let's figure out a time to get that guy on soon because it's unacceptable that you weren't invited to the wedding, and it's definitely unacceptable that you're not part of the draft party. I think at the very least,
I should be zoomed in.
Yeah, Trevor should be zooming you in, and like I mean, if he wants to be part of the show for his first overall pick, hey, that's cool with us too. We are humble enough to bring you on for that, and if that's what you want to be a part of, fantastic.
Maybe I just want to invite him. Maybe I'm just gonna find a new boyfriend.
Yeah, we will. We'll tell him we're having him on, and then we won't send him the link.
Yeah, just to prove a point.
Yeah, see what it's like waiting. But that's the That's the Sunshine California kid. How about a guy that has basically been the face of Boston outside of Tom Brady for the last however many years, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years? Julian Edelman called it quits today.
Mm-hmm. Something I think you called actually last season when he went on an injured reserve. So it was the last time he was ever going to
know why
play.
he retired?
Because he's going to go play for the Bucks?
The Bucks aren't signing AB. That's why.
Jeez. My God.
Jeez. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he'll be a free agent, right? Because they cut him and then he retired. So the question I had was like, not that they cut him and not that he's retiring, but you're retiring now. Do you have a little bit of spite inside you? And I know how Chad feels about this because I was feeling a little bit spiteful about this too. So would you like consider going into the Hall of Fame as like a different team or just going in as whatever? Because I mean, I don't think Edelman played anywhere else, right? He was drafted by the Patriots. Is that correct?
No, yeah. No, I think I read that he was cut. The reason they cut him was so that he got his salary paid out.
No, he failed his physical is why they cut him.
Oh, I thought
cool.
there was a reason.
Send him on down to Tampa.
Yeah.
Rebuild
yeah, I thought I read there was some reason for that. He was getting paid as a result. There was if he got cut, he got paid, and if he retired, he wouldn't get paid or something.
They probably come off the books, right? It's the same thing like the Tom Brady contract and the Drew Brees contract. It's disposable income, and I think that's what they call it. And it comes out after you've been cut or you retire.
Yeah.
So like they honor, but it won't come off the cap. So yeah, Tom Brady's paying for $19 million this year, and it gets pushed back for 3 years. And that when he's done playing, he'll get paid out those years. Similarly to the Bobby Bo contract on a lesser scale.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like in like the Steelers re-signed Roethlisberger and they gave him no new money, but 2 extra years. So like they just dumped his contract into 2 years. He's not going to play for them. But so I don't know if I was Edelman and I walk in and you gave your all to a franchise and you fail your physical, so they cut you. I'd be spiteful as fuck, and I would go in with just the NFL logo on my hat. Fuck it, fuck the Patriots.
He'll walk in with a TB12 on his hat.
Yeah, that would work too. Honestly, that would work too.
Significantly better.
Yeah,
I didn't play for the Patriots. I played for Tom Brady.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And I think that would be a baller move. I'm sure that he's a little bit classier than we are, so I'm sure he's going to go in as a Patriot because, whatever. But another thing that I saw this weekend, and Kalen, I don't like you guys were watching the Masters all weekend, but the Jays game started. Chad just left. The Jays game started super late on Saturday, and with that, I was watching it, paying attention. I was trying to calm myself down after our massive defeat in that Super Boost because I was mad. But so I was watching the Jays game. The final score in the game was 15-1. So I don't know if anyone saw that. Anyway, the entire thing that sparked that rally was over a controversial call. And I know I mentioned it to Chad earlier and he didn't see it. So I'm going to explain it really quickly. And basically what happened, we have a runner on first, runner on second. Ball's hit to the first baseman. First baseman lobs it up. Now, the way that it's lobbed up, it pulls the shortstop off the base. But the guy that's the Blue Jay player, I think it was Jonathan Davis, is coming to break up the double play. He could still touch the base. So technically it's not interference, but he interfered with the play enough that the player threw the ball away. So the guy that was originally at second scores. They call Davis out at second. And whoever, I forget who hit it, but anyway, whoever hit it is safe on first. Now, ball's running away, okay, whatever. So the Angels decide to challenge it. Now, the Angels challenge the play, and they think because if there's interference, the guy on second is out, and the guy on first is out, and they would take that runner back and put him on third base because technically he wouldn't have scored if it wasn't for the interference. Now, because the umpires looked at it, and they looked at it for a hell of a long time, but they came out, and they actually decided that the guy on second didn't touch the base. So because he didn't touch the base, there can't be interference. And because there can't be interference, they put the runner back on second. The run counts. and the Jays went on and scored 7. Yeah,
Wow.
the Jays went on and scored 7 runs in that inning. And the next inning, the Angels manager found a way to get his ass kicked out of the game. He went after the umps. But yeah,
I can
At
it
that
was
imagine.
point, do you just not throw the ball to the next batter?
only because it's not like it's not like that would be like an unwritten baseball rule. Like you don't throw at the other team unless it's the other team's fault. But you like your manager has to get kicked out. If Joel Madden didn't go and get himself kicked out of the game, you've lost your team for the entire season. Your whole season is ruined over one play.
Mhm.
So
Now, what
he
are your
probably-
thoughts on it, Shane? What if you're Madden? Or realistically, did he get fucked here, or was this called right?
It was called right, but it wouldn't have been called at all if he didn't challenge. Now, if I was Madden, I would have gotten thrown out on that play because there's just no way that I would have took that thing in stride. Because you guys know I'm pretty petty, and you guys know that I have a hard time letting stuff go. So I would have flew out to the umpires committee as soon as they broke and said that everyone was going back to their base and there was nobody out, and I would refuse to go back to the dugout by myself. I would be getting dragged out, 2 people in handcuffs. I don't care. I'll pay the fine, whatever. But
I would
I'm
love
getting,
to see you just sit on home plate like a fucking spoiled brat. Like that's what I would see you doing. You know what? You can't play the game if I'm sitting here.
Yeah. No, you know what I would do is I would go out to the mound and I would dig up the rubber. Because man, I know where it starts. You can get in there, just kick that rubber up, no doubt. But I would 100% as the manager get kicked out of that game because even letting it carry on to the next inning, like if I was the shortstop, and I can't think of who the Angels shortstop is off the top of my head, but I'm thinking like, the fuck? Like, why isn't this guy out here chirping at the umps? He's just sitting there finishing his sunflower seeds, but well, Rona.
1-9.
Yeah. But yeah, that was pretty wild. And if you guys get a chance, go back and
Liam, what are you
look at
doing?
it.
No one can see what Liam just did. That was the creepiest thing you've ever seen.
He's taking pictures of Kalen.
It was weird.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, I got my hair down today, so I see Liam's taking his pictures out.
Yeah.
This is weird.
Yeah.
What are you doing with those pictures after midnight, Liam? You freak.
Yeah, he's gonna put them on my special station where my knife is.
Yeah. Liam is
Thinking about
running his OnlyFans page for Kalen.
It's for the Going for Two OnlyFans where all the hot mics go.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if
Shit.
that's it.
Yeah.
Liam,
that
you'll
thing
always get paid. Don't worry. When
Yeah,
we start
that-
getting paid, you'll get paid.
that thing will get us in trouble. But we were talking about Joel Madden. What about John Madden? Did you guys know that John Madden turned 65 yesterday? Or sorry, 85.
85? I was like, yo,
I was gonna say
85.
65 is young.
that guy
I
was
was
65
Yo,
looking at
little
85.
giants.
Yo,
Wow.
he's 85.
That's crazy. It's
Hmm.
been a hot minute since his voice has been in the video game too, so I
Yeah.
barely even remember what he sounds like. But geez, he was such a crazy part of the Monday nights and when we were kids and teenagers, huh? Watching the game.
Well, think about any like any video game system that you've ever had. I mean, you can think of Madden 95.
Mhm.
And like that guy has built he was building brands before they were considered building brands. Like that guy is an iconic part of football, and he's an iconic part of us growing up. Like you said, Monday Night Football, the Madden games. Yeah, that
That's where him
dude.
and Pat Summerall. All
Frank Caliendo's impressions of him too.
Yeah. Yeah,
What do you got here? Throwing a real good touchdown.
yeah. 90% of the time, it works every time. I think that's from Anchorman, but who cares? But yeah, I mean, that's awesome for him. 85 years old, shout out. But speaking of 85-year-olds, did you guys see that Evander Holyfield is getting back into boxing and he's fighting on June the 5th?
Yeah, Tyson wants him.
Who?
That's who it is. Tyson wants him.
Oh God.
Oh my God, is
I-
right.
They've been
I
talking.
hope-
Listen, I heard it on the radio a couple weeks ago on ESPN Talk, and I was like, nah, they're just making this shit up. And I don't want to bring
He's
it
gonna
up
go
'cause I didn't
from
know the
like
facts.
first. He's going from like first to third level dementia in 2 rounds.
What's
Yikes.
one?
Yeah.
What's
If
that?
if I was Evander Holyfield's family, somebody should be bending his ear right now to make sure that he knows that he shouldn't be doing this. And that's an ear joke. I know it's a corny ear joke because he got his ear bitten off by Mike Tyson, but that's absolutely absurd. I'm not
Hopefully
sure.
it's the big foam like boxing gloves, like the ones you play with your kids in the backyard
man.
with, right? That's crazy.
Like Tyson just fought like 3 months ago. Like he has an exhibition, but he was throwing bombs.
Yeah.
Like you're not stepping off the couch and like fighting a guy who's actually fought in the last year when you're 65 years old.
Yeah, I don't know. Like if I was Holyfield, like maybe you want to go fight like Conor McGregor or something. Like I don't know, fight somebody else who needs
Go
the money.
fight Logan Paul. That
Yeah.
guy's a fucking loser.
Yeah, like does Holyfield need the money? Like you have to assume like the guy has money, right? Like I know he didn't get to start his own like grill fat burning company, but Evander Holyfield has to have some kind of business venture that keeps him out of fighting this year.
You'd fucking hope so.
My God, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on with those guys. I could tell you one thing, and the reason that they're doing this is if Evander Holyfield fights Mike Tyson in June, we're watching that.
100%.
Like, that's a must-see TV. That's 100%. But
Yeah.
We should, if it's on YouTube, and if you're on YouTube, you should make sure you subscribe to our channel. We would definitely watch, but
I couldn't pay for that.
I'd probably pay for it just to see it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I didn't see the Tyson one, but yeah, I don't know.
I guess it's like either you pay for it, like you just risk giving your like computer aids. Like, what's going to cost you more down the road?
I think computer aids is pretty curable, so
That's magic.
yeah, so I feel like that would be okay.
Mr. Steal Your Data.
What? That would be, yeah, I don't know. I guess that would be a little rough. I wasn't really thinking that. I mean, you got kind of dark there, but
your
that's
screen
okay.
went shadowed too when you said that, which made it that much worse.
Yeah. I was just saying, like, for anybody that goes and leaves a comment on our YouTube channel, we'll enter them into a draw and we'll give them one of these fancy shiny hats. So everybody make sure that you go and leave comments on the YouTube channel and let us know how we're doing, because I mean sometimes we suck and like it might have been really, really disgusting for anybody to see Chad sneeze on the show. So tell us all about it. And
on a side note, we have to give a prize back to Kyle Chi. That was our 500 follower on Instagram.
Okay, yeah. We got to get that guy too. So our suppliers are shut down right now. So if they want stuff with the football logo, done deal. Hopefully you're a medium. I don't know if you are. We definitely have some mediums and some hats. But we can figure that out. So Kyle, make sure you hit it. Have you already hit up Kyle, or does he need to hit us up? All right.
He's a medium too, so it does work actually.
Jackpot. So we'll do that, and make sure you go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Leave some comments on there. Liam will check it out. He'll put it into the randomizer, and then we'll let you know if you won. And other than that, boys, I don't know if you have anything else to talk about.
No, I'm good, guys.
All
Just
right,
them Sox that started 0-3. What are they, 5-0 since, Shane?
I'm not sure.
The guy
No
that
one
counts
looked at-
records before July.
He
June
said
1st.
it. I just wanted to bring it up, man. Come
I
on.
didn't say anything about the record. I just said they were off to a bad
gonna
start.
accept you, Caleb. It's us versus you the whole show. That's what we do.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Let's sign off because we're about to get stupid here. So, everyone, have a good one. We'll see you
night,
next time.
boys.
Cheers.
Cheers.